What's up? Welcome back to the next edition of Anime vs. Manga. Today we're going through chapter 38 of the Dragon Ball Super manga and really going over the similarities since there are fewer similarities than there are differences. This issue diverges quite a bit from what happened in the anime, so I'll go over a bunch of the differences, but mainly try to focus on the very few similarities there are, and then kind of give a review at the end. So without further ado, let's begin. So as we left off last issue, we have Kale going berserk from her overwhelming power, and she's just kind of laying it into everybody, similar to episode 100 in the anime. Except in the anime, I don't think she eliminated quite as many people, and we'll get into that in just a second. So similar to the anime, in the manga here, we're still having Vegeta versus Toppo, but Kale kind of gets in the way, and then she almost eliminates both of them, but then she eliminates Ganos, who was actually eliminated by Roshi in episode 105, and subsequently leading to the erasure of Universe 4, who actually didn't get erased until way later on in episode 119. Which was a few episodes after Kale and Caulifla were actually eliminated from the tournament. And on top of that, Kale eliminates Aniraza, who in terms of order was still eliminated after Universe 4, but of course had nothing to do with Kale or Caulifla. It took all of the Universe 7 team members to take out Aniraza, working together. Here it's just Kale. She just punches him and then he's eliminated. But it is similar in that Aniraza exists in both the manga and the anime. They had the strategy to fuse, so they fused, but it did not work whatsoever. And that of course leads to the elimination of Universe 3. So we move on to Obuni in this little scene in the manga where Kale is fighting Obuni, the last fighter from Universe 10, who was actually eliminated by Gohan in the anime, leading to Universe 10's erasures. So Gohan in the anime, Kale in the manga. But for similarity's sake, Obuni was still the last member of Universe 10 to get eliminated. Same with Aniraza, and certainly Magetta and the Universe 6 Namekians were definitely not eliminated by Kale. Universe 6 Namekians actually lasted longer than Kale, being eliminated in episode 118 after Kefla's elimination. Now we get onto another similarity where there is Vegeta saving Kama and giving him a little bit of a harsh pep talk. He doesn't punch him this time, but I guess that's a little bit similar to what happened in 112, where Vegeta saved Kaba, gave him a good pep talk, and then Kaba went Super Saiyan 2, which he does not do in this manga chapter. But speaking of more similarities, we have Universe 11 Pride Troopers versus Kale, which we did have in the anime. We had Kale and Caulifla teaming up against the Pride Troopers, and subsequently eliminating many of them. So now we're moving into the Potara. While the Potara was a big factor in the anime, how they got the Potara is completely different. Caulifla actually has stolen the Potara instead of having like a pre-strategy before the tournament of giving them the Potara before the tournament began. This time they just kind of fall out of Caulifla's pocket, and then they come up with the strategy of fusing. And since we're having kind of a hard time finding similarities here, I'm just going to bring this one out, and that Dispo is being grabbed by Caulifla the same way he got grabbed by Gohan in the anime. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but they fuse, so Kefla exists both in the anime and the manga, even though the circumstances are completely different. In the anime, of course, Kale and Caulifla were fighting Goku. In this, they are tying it to Kale and Caulifla's fight with the Pride Troopers, and then fusing into Kefla, but Kefla is not in base form when she fuses. She is a Super Saiyan, and then proceeds to eliminate many of the Pride Troopers. So last but not least, in the chronological order here, Gohan shows up to fight Kefla, whereas in the anime, the only person who fought Kefla was Goku. Goku fought Kale and Caulifla, they fused into Kefla, and now, in the manga, Berserk Kale is fighting the Pride Troopers, and then they fuse into Kefla to fight the Pride Troopers, and then Gohan steps in to fight Kefla. So that is the cliffhanger that we're leaving off on, and now comes the review portion of the video. So, as I've said about the manga in these past few issues, other than that last issue, I really liked how they had the tension with Frieza versus Kale and Caulifla. In this one, again, we're going on to the extreme rushed pace of the manga, and it's just like Kale goes berserk, And while I think it's cool that she's eliminating so many people, I don't necessarily like the fact that she's eliminating these guys, leading to the erasure of the universes. I think that we should keep like 1 or 2 fighters from the universes to have some really cool, tension-filled moments with these universes struggling to survive, instead of boom, you are now eliminated because one character is going berserk and now you're just gone. And so in the anime, I was hoping something similar to this would happen, but not to this insane degree. Like, I think this is too much. He eliminated 4 universes. And I almost feel like what's the point in having all of these universes if you're not going to have, like, any focus on them whatsoever? Like, it's just gonna... It's just like background scenery, I guess? Same with a bunch of the fighters from Universe 7. I feel like there's no point to having them there because they literally did nothing. And I don't know if they have like a deadline for Toyotaro to get this manga done by. Maybe they're saying that he has to get it done by the time the Dragon Ball Super movie comes out. So he's like, oh shoot, so I need to hurry up and just eliminate all these universes so I can have a bunch of chapters focusing only on the strong guys. And that's something that I don't really like in any anime, is focusing so much on just the stronger guys. I think there's possibly even a better story and better like drama and tension stuff that you can have with the weaker characters, especially if they have interesting powers. Like in the anime, we had some characters with some really interesting powers, especially in episode 105, where Roshi, being such a weak character... By the way, Roshi is still in this tournament, and I am hoping that he is the last one standing at the end of the day. I think that would be fantastic. But anyway... episode 105, they had a few people that were like super dangerous, but not because they're super strong or powerful, but because they had really interesting powers and like magical techniques. And Roshi took it upon himself, like, I have to get these guys out if I can, because they can cause troubles for these stronger guys, even though they're not as strong. So Kale just eliminating 4 universes and just so many people, I think really takes away from the opportunity that you could have with this cool, interesting story stuff, or introducing neat characters. But instead we're just kind of rushing through this, and I feel like this is a chapter where Toyotaro just wants to lump in as much tournament progression as possible. So he just has Kale eliminate everybody. And so now we just have the ratio of weaker to stronger guys is even greater. We have like 90% stronger guys and then 10% of the weaker guys who knows what they're doing now. And this might be coming from a place since I watched the anime with Aniraza. I was a little... It ties in with the pacing and the rushness of it, of Aniraza fusing and then Kale eliminating them. Again, like, why was it necessary for Aniraza to exist in the first place if he's just gonna get one-shotted out of the ring? So maybe like Toriyama's like, Aniraza has to be a part of the manga, so Toyotaro's like, okay, he puts him in one panel and then there you go, he's in the manga. I think it would have been excellent if Kale was going berserk and then Aniraza and Kale had this really cool clash between them. But no, we have to get through everybody so that we can get to the more powerful guys' fights. I do, however, liked Obuni's little kind of moment, I guess, which was very similar to the anime, where he had the moment with Gohan. He's like, I have this family that I have to protect, and I'm the last fighter of Universe 10, so let's go at it. And Gohan and him went at it. Here, he's charging Kale, but he has no chance against her, and he's just eliminated like that. I did like that moment, though. And since this whole issue is just Kale berserking everybody, that's a term now, berserking. She was just berserking everybody. I really liked how she started going berserk against her own teammates, because, you know, she's lost her mind, so she's just attacking anybody and everybody she can. I think it was kind of cool how they kind of had a nod back from the Universe 6 tournament of Vegeta trying to lift Magetta, and now Kale, she's able to lift Magetta, whoa! So I guess that makes her, in this state, stronger than Super Saiyan Vegeta was back then. So that was interesting, and I really liked how she, that picture of her just standing there, holding Magetta with one arm with her berserkness. But then again, speaking of her going berserk against her own team, the Universe 6 Namekians add up to absolutely nothing, and I am disappointed. Because I really liked the Universe 6 Namekians. I thought they were cool in the anime. Of course, being Namekian, and only because they're Namekian, I think it would have been cool to have a moment between them and Piccolo, because they share their heritage or whatever, But not that that's like super important or anything. I think that could have been a cool Piccolo moment, because there's not many Namekians left, especially since these guys in the anime fused with a bunch of the other Namekians, leaving the population even lower. So it's almost like Namekians are an endangered species, and then you would have this cool clash between these Namekians and Piccolo's like, oh man, there's like not many of the Namekians left, but I have to eliminate these guys and erase their universe, erasing their Namekians. But we have to get onto the god tier characters, so everybody's just eliminated. And I guess that's the only problem that I really have with this chapter, is just the pacing and how Kale, I feel, eliminated too many people. But I loved the Pride Troopers and their teamwork, and how they explained that the Pride Troopers, they're not as strong as Kale here, but they have such good teamwork, and they work so well together that they're getting the upper hand on her. And they're reading her movements well enough to be able to get her, I love that. And toward the end of it all, I actually liked how Caulifla got the earrings. I liked how she stole them instead of Champa giving it to them before the tournament even started and having it as a strategy. It was kind of like an accidental thing, and I feel like it's more in her character to steal them, because she's like kind of a bandit sort of kind of character, so that's like something that she would do, and I thought that was kind of funny. So when she fuses, and I'm glad that it's not focusing as much on Goku. I really like the focus being spread evenly, even though the past couple of chapters have been on really heavily on Kale and Caulifla. I do like how it's not Goku fighting against Kale and Caulifla here. I like how it's all of the Pride Troopers teaming up against her. I think that's a much better kind of story situation. And now we have Gohan about to face off against Kefla. So this should be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to what they do with this, because now we have a new character in Kefla fighting a character that has had development in the series, and a character that we know well. Goku has his hands tied with Jiren. Vegeta has his hands tied with Toppo. And speaking of Vegeta, I actually liked his pep talk in the anime a little bit better, and Kaba had a really good scene with achieving Super Saiyan 2 and rising above, his own limitations. Here, he does, he sacrifices himself to save Caulifla to do the fusion, so that was awesome. I don't feel like it was as much of a character advancement, I guess you could say, as in the anime. That's kind of how I feel personally. I liked the portrayal of events in the anime as opposed to the manga, but they were both pretty good, I thought. So I guess that about wraps it up. What do you guys think of the manga? If there's any differences or similarities that I missed, just put them down in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, and take it easy.